Did you know that the state can shut down your business if you fail to file one form each year? It's very simple. It takes you less than 10 minutes, but if you forget to do it, the state will dissolve your company or terminate your company and it will no longer exist. And that will throw you into a state of sole proprietorship, which does not protect you from any liability if anyone were to sue you through the acts of your business. So let's get into what that form is, how you can file it, and a great way to remember it. And I'll walk you through actually what you need to put in it. So let's get into it. I'm Scott Radigan at Functional Lawyer, and I'm going to share with you my screen to give you a real life example of one of my former companies that I let dissolve because it was just a shell company. I don't recommend you do that. And we'll get into that in a few seconds. So as you can see, I had a company called BLZR LLC at one point. It was really just a company so that I could track expenses when I was in sales and really on a commission basis, and then kind of figuring out my next steps to start Functional Lawyer. But as you can see, the last event that took place with the state of Florida, this is the state of Florida's Division of Corporations website, was administrative dissolution for annual report, which means the Division of Corporations dissolved the company because I failed to file annual reports. Now, I did that on purpose because I was letting that company kind of dwindle and wind up. Wind up is the technical term for basically tying up loose ends of a company that no longer exists. So I did this on purpose. However, if you don't want this to happen to you on accident, then pay attention to the rest of this video. As real life example, I was on the call with somebody yesterday, one of my clients, and I said, okay, make sure you're filing your annual report, right? She said, what's that? And so a little bit of that is somewhat my fault, but it is in the materials that we give to our members. And people just forget. You're busy, and I don't hold it against her. I maybe could have done better explaining it, but now I'm sharing this with the world so that you guys don't make the same mistakes. So when we went onto her Secretary of State's website, it said her company was terminated. So different states have different terms for it, but effectively, if you're not giving them information every year that we'll get into in a second, that you still are in existence and that you're still available and open for business, then they will kind of shut you down. So this is kind of just a search for my old company, BLZR. As you can see, it is inactive, which means not eligible to transact business in Florida. And all of this information we'll get to as I show you what is in your annual report. So most states will have a place where you can go to the Division of Corporations website, and then you can e-file your annual report, just like this. You click on that button, and then you go ahead and start filing. Most of the time it's online. Most of the time it's 15 minutes or less. And usually you'll pay an annual fee somewhere between $50 to $200, although they're usually somewhere between $120, $150, that kind of range. So what's in it and how do you fill it out? So once you click through there, and I've already done this for my two companies that are still operating, but this is an old annual report from BLZR. And so you can see what's in it and then what you have to verify each time you fill it out. So at least in Florida, we search by document number, and that's just the ID number the state gave you when you first incorporated. Or you can maybe search by your name, but you click on the File Annual Report link. And all you're doing is verifying that everything is still up to date. If it's not, you update it. And if it is, you just say, yep, everything looks good. You pay the fee and you go back to business, right? So things that could have changed, you could have moved offices if your principal place of business moved. You could update where you want to get mail. You can update the registered agent. Now, a registered agent, for those of you that don't know, is just somebody designated, usually a human, sometimes a corporation, but somebody designated to accept formal notices on behalf of your company. The reason why we have that is so that the state and any attorneys or any creditors, anybody that's looking to serve you with legal notice, most often tax liens or tax information or lawsuits, knows that whenever they hand it to your agent, then you've received it. So the knowledge gets imputed to everybody in the company once that agent has it. So you can serve as your own registered agent, like I did at this company. You can pay an attorney, a CPA to do it. There are lots of companies that offer this as their main offering, that they will just be your registered agent. And that's fine too, if you trust that company. It doesn't have to be a law firm or a licensed professional. In a lot of states, it can just be anyone over the age of 18. There are some rules about they have to be at that location for certain hours during the day. Some states require between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. most days. Some require, there to be there more than 50% of the time. So it depends on the state, but there is you can't just say you're a registered agent and give an address halfway across the state. You're supposed to be at that location. So someone can hand deliver something to you, and then you can either sign for it or they can file an affidavit that they handed it to you or somebody like you. So make sure your registered agent information is the same. And then authorized persons. So the way Florida calls this is they have one place for all authorized persons. And that just means people that are authorized to act on behalf of the company. This title here was a member, so authorized member of the company. So for those of you that don't know, LLCs call their owners members. So in this scenario, I was the only member. I'm the only authorized person, and all of my information was correct at the time I filed this annual report. So that's really it. Then you sign, and who are you? How are you able to sign on behalf of this company? And then you date it. And that's it. That is the annual report. Those of you that have a spouse that maybe isn't a professional, but runs the business side of your office, and most importantly too, if you have a professional entity where they cannot be a co-owner with you, this is a good place to notate that they are an authorized person. So for example, if they wanted to call the bank on your behalf and they're not listed as an account owner, they're going to say, well, who are you? And then they can show them, if you, instead of writing AMBR, you just write AP for authorized person. And then that spouse can be a non-owner, but somebody that can act on behalf of the company, manages finances, enter into contracts, that sort of thing. So if you don't want your company to get dissolved and fall back into a no protection of liability sole proprietorship, then file your annual report. The reason I'm wearing this little vest is to give you a quick reminder that every year around the Super Bowl is a good time for you to file your annual report. So Super Bowl Sunday, you write it on your calendar every year. Just wake up early, or Monday, when you are talking about all the commercials the next day, make that your reminder to file your annual report. So usually the states give you several months to do it in, and it usually starts around January 1st and goes to about April 1st or thereabouts. But check with your state on the timing, usually in this early part of the year. But I think doing it in January or February, you can't go wrong. So maybe on Valentine's Day, or maybe on Martin Luther King weekend, or President's Day, any of those things, just put it on your calendar every year, reminder, and that way you'll never forget. And they should be sending you reminders either through the mail or through email as well. So be sure to check from, make sure that the state's emails aren't going to spam, because they will send you reminders before they dissolve your company. But it's better not to get to that point. So file your annual report every year, the first couple months of the year. That's how you do it. And if you have any questions about any of this, please reach out to us at Functional Lawyer, and hope you have a great day. Thanks.